Hello guys, welcome to the channel. It's Rad. Hopefully everything works well. And tonight's my favorite show again, which is what do we need to know right now. This is a message, or is going to be a message for each single star sign in it. I'm gonna start, of course, with the collective reading, but for all new people which are to watch that, just to introduce myself, I'm Rad, and what I do, it's interpreting tarot cards based on what I know for them. So it's based for the knowledge I have. So with that now said, if you had paid attention to the thumbnail, you would have saw 3 cards, which is the collective message for the world, at least according to my tarot cards, and they were as follow. Now the first one, that was the 10 of Swords. The second card, that is the 3 of Swords. And the third card we have as a message, this is going to be the Page of Wands. Those 3. And again, those 3. That is how the elemental dignities does stand. So according to them, guys, it does look like that we are on the cusp of some, let's put it that way, some personal choices or actions. And I'm saying personal, it is because of this element of dignity that we do have here, the 10 of Swords and the 3 of Pentacles. Okay. Now those 2 cards, they do speak that none of what those which are surrounding us, regardless if their intentions are genuine and good for our well-being, or their intentions are nefarious and they do have a surreptitious targets and strives, what others can do for us, or can tell us, okay, or even can support us with, will contribute for the transition that we are on a cusp or on a verge of doing in our lives. And only we can make that cross. Hello, Shakti. Welcome to the stream. Only we can make that cross. And it will be a difficult one because it's marked by the 10 of Swords. Now the 10 of Swords, when it comes to crossing from one state to another, because that is what that card is forming itself with here, or it's forming itself about here. The action or a choice that we are to make as of this moment or in the next few days, it has to be a definitive one. What I mean is that once you make up your mind, there is no going back from it. And the reason for the choice or for the action under the energy of the 10 of Swords is so one can provoke a new dawn in thy life. If you will, if you want to call it, that could be even a new beginning in some extreme cases. But usually it's related to a stagnant lives. It's related to a lives where not many things are moving in them in any kind of direction, you know, either a job that, for example, you have for about a decade now and there is no improvement, there is nothing in it, right? You just do your work, you get your salary check, and that's that. And the upcoming few days, that will be the moment where, you know, the future progress is to be decided, how it's going to take place, when, and above everything else as well, why. Another thing that points to personalization of the upcoming few days is the other elemental dignity that we do have here, which is the Ten of Swords with the Page of Wands. Okay, so those two cards. And first and foremost, they show that if we don't know as of this moment, in the next few days, we will truly going to understand how strong we really are. And we are going to realize that actually we can handle almost everything around. We can go through, if we are experiencing pain right now, we can go through that pain on our own, right? Or we can force our career forward or on our own again. We can find happiness on our own, and it will be required to do so, because those two cards as an elemental dignity as well, the Ten of Swords with the Page of Wands, they show that, or rather like what they're telling us, what do we need to know, is that the next few days are going to be very versatile. There are going to be so many things coming our way. And they could be literally anything from a proposal, ideas, new people, new horizons, all right, new opportunities, if you will. And they will be not exactly shocking, but at the very least quite surprising. That is because under the forming energy in between these two cards, they are coming unexpectedly. And how can I put it into words? And maybe we will not gonna take them seriously, at least at the start, okay? Because it's gonna feel far-fetched. But it's truly a horizon or a door which it's worth exploring. Most definitely it's a horizon or a door which is worth exploring. And the last thing that I'm going to say is that we need to be aware, and we need to know how we do interact with people for the next few days. People are going to be extremely touchy in a sense of that saying something inappropriate of our behalf, even if it is just a jest, right? Or just a joke, it could harm. It could inflict severe or rather serious damage to one's personality, as well to one's self-esteem, ego, and of course emotions. And we wouldn't know what we did right away, right off the get-go. That is because the energy of the Ten of Swords and the Page of Wands, it's masking it. And those people will kind of seem that they don't care. They are going to give us an impression that they're brushing it away. But actually from within, they are going to be very hurt. And that is a recipe for disaster when it comes to relationships, because that pain, it will build up and eventually, if not healed in a certain way, is gonna break up that relationship. Hello, Susie. Welcome to the stream. So with that said, this is the collective. It seems that there are some important choices that we'll have to make about the future that are coming, and unfortunately, no one and no example can help us with it. Again, it is just something very, very personal, and we have to make up our mind about one thing or another. So with that said, now a few notes about the show. Yeah, it is a heavy one, right? But that is the thing about the Ten of Swords, Shakti. It's something that you just have to powerhouse through, right? And then when it's over and you don't feel it anymore. But it is a heavy one, yes. All right, a few notes about the show before we move forward, guys. Now there are going to be 12 readings, one for each star sign. I'm going to start from Aries and I'm going to end up with a Pisces. And also, 3 of you can have a free reading with me throughout the duration of the live stream. One is going to take place after Cancer, another one is going to be after Scorpio, and the final one is going to be after Pisces. All that you gotta do to take or to get a free reading, not to contribute but to participate for a free reading, is just wait for that time when I do announce a break, and you can ask a question into the comments down below. And I usually give a 5 minutes people to ask their questions, and after those 5 minutes one question will be picked and a professional reading on that question is going to be conducted. Professional reading means that I'm gonna make a full spread on it, not just only a 1-card draw. And if you do want to have your own personal reading, you can always go to my website, which link you're gonna find in the description down below. And there at the very front page, you're going to see a full list of my services, also their pricing. And finally, if you do decide to support the stream and the channel through Super Chats, you are going to have your reading at the end of the stream. That's pretty much guaranteed. Should your Super Chat carries on an inquiry, the reading is going to be about the inquiry. Should it not, the reading is going to be about the topic of the stream itself, or in other words, what do you need to know, what do you need to be aware of as of this moment. And should your Super Chat be $20 or above, the reading is going to be that very same format I just did, which is called Elemental Dignities Spread. Hello, Athena. Welcome to the stream. Good evening. All right, so starting up first, we do have Aries. Let me put the glyph now on the screen and see what Aries needs to be aware of. Don't forget to listen to your sun, moon, and rising sign, guys, because that way you're going to grasp the full picture of it, okay? Because on their own, none of them, it's enough to give you the full understanding of what is to happen. All right, for Aries, the first card we have, that will be the 5 of Cups. Followed by the second one, which stands as the Moon. And the third card for Aries, that will be the 10 of Swords. This is how the elemental dignity stands. So what those cards are urging you guys is to examine, right? What you don't want to be without, and in the same time what you don't want to be without, and in the same time what you don't want to not be with, but what you wish to be different, right? Like, for example, just to give you an example, you don't want to move forward without your girlfriend or a boyfriend, but you wish the relationship in between you two was different. Okay? And what do you need to know, Aries? It's about to become different, right? In a good way, that is, because of that elemental dignity we do have here. This, the Moon and the 5 of Cups, like this, right? The Moon and the 5 of Cups, those two cards. It speaks that things are not going to be permanent. That is first, right? So if you end up disappointed by one thing or another, of, say, like I give you the example, your boyfriend or a girlfriend, right? Or of your boss, say, or of a colleague at your work, something that it is just a part of the grand scheme of things, right? That disappointment that you do have with it, it's going to be, for the lack of a better word, I will say fixed moving forward. And I'm sorry saying it, but it is how the card stands. You are not entirely right to be angry and to be disappointed, because according to these cards, there are safe forces and influences that you do not yet understand and you do not yet see, and they are those forces of influences, or even, if you will, energies, which are influencing this situation or the enterprise in a way that you are disappointed from it. And even, you know, in some extreme cases, you may feel a sense of loss as well from it. This, like I said, these disappointments and senses of losses, they are partial one, temporary one, and they can be restored. They will be restored. They will be fixed. So what you really need to know, it is that this unpleasant, not unpleasant, but unsatisfying situation, it's a one that, unless you live entirely through it, Aries, you will constantly going to run back into it. So that is something you are destined to go through and to experience in full. Now, what is exactly the full grasp on it? All right, what is the full package of it? We cannot say. No one can. It's going to be very personal for each one of us. And probably with the collective, your choice is exactly that. Making it or breaking it. Ten of Swords being next to the Five of Cups here. Actually, it's a good thing. And it kind of says that your experience making, or rather like your process of making that step forward or a choice, it's not going to be that volatile at all. Actually, it will be more synchronized with your emotions. So your mind is going to have a certain extent synchrony with your emotions. So you won't going to feel bad and how can I put it into words, oppressed of deciding what to do with your situation. Mattia, thank you so much for your $20 PayPal donation. Thank you, Mattia. Make sure that you listen to your reading at the end of the stream. If you cannot stay up until the end, you can always watch it on a record after the stream is done. Hello, Shanna. Welcome to the stream. Pisces Moonbeam, I think she's not around, at least not for now, but she should come about. All right, moving forward, we do have Taurus. Well, thank you, Mattia. First one for Taurus. We have the Sun. Followed by the second one, which stands as the King of Cups. And the third one, it is the High Priestess. The message is very simple for you guys. Very, very simple, right? Those three. And the message is that you must. Well, I don't want to make choices for you, so I will say it that way. Not must, but it will benefit you so much if you actually open your heart for everyone, for the world. Now, according to these cards right now, well, I cannot say for certain. So, for example, if right now you are with an open heart to everyone and to the world, right? And you are pleased having people around you, you are pleased with sharing your happiness in general with others, then you are on the right track with your life. That is what you need to know. And if you aren't, if you are closed up, you don't want to see anybody, all right, how can I put it into words? you don't want to relate to anything or to anyone, well, it's about time for you to start doing it. So, because according to these cards, Taurus, your happiness goes through the happiness of others. Is it for you? Wow. Okay. So your happiness goes through the happiness of others. So, for example, if you do have children, make them happy, and you will see um, that you will be happy as well. Say you are in a relationship right now, make your partner, your spouse, make your spouse happy, and you will see that that makes you happy as well. Make your business partner happy, etc., etc. Just the happiness goes both ways, at least this time for you. And on a tangible interpretation, like something feasible here, those cards are speaking that, you know, you alone have to make up your own circumstances. What I mean is that you cannot expect, at least as of this moment, you can't expect that, for example, your career is gonna take off on its own accord, or you are to be, say, addressed with a proposal to take a higher rank at your job on its own merit. That's not happening here with those cards. You will have to create your own patterns of growth and monetary success as well. How? Well, by doing what you do best. That is literally what those cards are showing. Don't try to show that you can do everything, right? Just focus on what you can do best, and that should open you that door for moving forward, and also give you expanding fields of growth moving forward in the designated area, whether love life or whether business as well. But that's also it's or rather like a vital part from it as well, is opening up for the world, right, and for others as well. So if you do have enemies, or not enemies but grievances with certain people, well, maybe the next few days, Taurus, are going to be a great days where you can bury down the hatchets. It's highly advisable according to these cards. Hey Zebra, welcome to the stream. All right, next we do have Gemini. Ten of Pentacles for Gemini, followed by the Four of Wands. And the third one for Gemini, that's going to be the Five of Wands. Give me a few seconds, guys. Well, maybe it's hard Shakti, but you're gonna have to. If you want to be happy, that is. At least in the near future. Coming up, Gemini. I don't know how to explain it. So it's the situation, it is like a double game for you, according to these cards. So what do you need to know? It is that the upcoming events or the consequences of the situations you are currently involved into will have an impact on your comfort and as well on your independence. What is going to be the impact relies entirely on you. I mean entirely on you. Currently, what you need to know is that your situation is as neutral as it can be, right? Or your situations, plural, is as neutral as it can be. What that means is that you can go for the ultimate independence or the ultimate dependence, depending on your choices. You can go for the ultimate comfort or the ultimate discomfort. Now, that is not going to be valid for all of you, but some of for a fair share of numbers of you, Taurus, this situation that those cards are talking about is going to be related with, let's call it that way, an old friend of yours, right? That could be old business partner or an ex, for example, or say person who things just didn't happen back in the days, like, you know, you were flirting, maybe you wanted to be together, but for some reason you just couldn't at that time. And now very likely that such kind of people are going to basically invade back into your life, and that is going to be the neutral situation where you will have a choice to make or an actions to take. Are you going to go for comfort and independence or a discomfort and dependence, which those two are not linked, right? You may go for a dependence and in the same time comfort, like for example a sugar baby or a sugar daddy thing, right? You can go for discomfort and independence, not agreeing, for example, to follow the rules. That is just an example. So the permutations here are quite a few, and depending again on your choices, you will decide how things are going to move forward. But they are about to move forward. That is another thing that you should need to know, Gemini. Things are going to move forward regardless do you like it or not, and regardless with or without you, they are moving forward. That is your message. So if that's a train that you want to be at, I suggest you to hop into. Because I'm saying that because imagine that you are having say negotiations, quote unquote, with a person that you like, with a person that you love, but just from a pure material standpoint, right, you are not together right now, and that person is pissed off, right? They just don't want to play that game anymore, and they're telling you, look, we are either together or we're not. Well, that is your cue. Are you going to hop off that train, or you're going to hop in the train? That will decide your independence and your comfort. That was just an example. All right, moving forward, we do have Cancer. First one for Cancer, Four of Swords, followed by the Lovers, and the final one for you, Cancer, that will be the Nine of Cups. So what do you need to know here Again, those are the 3 cards. Okay. So it's for those cards, the way that they are set up, it's a minor message. But these days, I believe that that is the more important message. And the message itself for you, Cancer, is that holding up for a while, for example, giving yourself a break, all right? For example, detaching from a few days ain't going to jeopardize your happiness, all right? Taking a couple of days off, according to the cards, is not going to affect, say, your work in such a way that, you know, you will feel threatened after that. Taking some time on your own is not going to undermine the foundation of your family, and so on and so forth. We were talking about dependencies at Gemini, but here that is like a addiction, right? That is, here we do have more like an addiction in a bad way. Addiction where you may have the impression that if you do leave it, whatever it is, right? A relationship or a friendship or a job, you know, even for a second unattended, is gonna fall apart. It won't. So take it easy, right? You are a human. You need as well a few moments to catch up your breath, to recuperate, to revitalize, so to speak. So that was the minor message, but to me, that is the more important one. So according to the cards, the important message is, however, and it comes from those 2 cards here, okay, from those 2 cards, it is that there is no wrong or right choice you can take. Both versions, whatever they are, or all of the versions, whichever they are gonna carry an equal amount of pros and cons. And it comes up to that, what you are ready to live with, right? And let me give you an example. First of all, the lesson here for you, Cancer, is going to be that at the end of the day, guys, no matter how much you are going to dislike what I am about to say, you cannot have everything, right? You simply cannot have everything. Simple example, say that you are looking for work, right? And you are to be addressed with a couple of jobs. And one of the jobs, it's a job that is going to pay well, right? But it is going to mount on top of you so much stress. And yeah, the big salary comes up with a lot of responsibilities, is it not? And if you care about your job, you are going to be stressed about it. While the other job, it pays just about enough to meet ends, but on the other hand, it offers you freedom. It offers you creativity, and you know, you just the consequences of you failing into that job are not going to be impactful at all, for one or another reason. I don't know. So which one you're going to go for? You can't go for both. You got to decide, am I going to be free in my job and be poor outside of it? Not poor, but let's say struggling a little bit with money, or I will not going to have to think about money anymore, and I will have a very stressful existence from there on moving forward. Which is going to be? So they carry on a equal amount of pros and cons as a quantity and as a quality. And you will have to pick, let's say you will have to pick your poison here. Now, the advice of the Tarot, Cancer, is that you should not take your choice right away, right? You should not make your move right away, but instead consult yourself with a loyal companion. If the decision you will have to make is a personal one, relates, or rather like it concerns your personal life, like intimate relationships, friendships, even hobbies, and so on and so forth, or with a professional if it does concern your business or even your health, okay? Because you may be presented with a few ways of treatment, and each treatment carries on, you know, its positive and negative effects. And what those cards are showing here is that it will be better if you do seek a second, third, or fifth opinion presenting those treatments. But at the end of the day, you will have to pick one. And you want to pick one that will be the most harmonious with, because that is what is at stake here, or rather, like, this is what the whole thing is all about, right? Not about having everything, but about having what feels harmonious with you, that what you can live up with moving forward with your life. All right, so that was Cancer, and now the first break is going to take place. One of you can have a free reading right now in this very moment, and in order to claim one, you just have to input a question into the comments down below that you wish me to read for with my tarot cards, and I am about to give you 5 minutes to do so. If there are no questions submitted, I'm just going to move on for the next 4 star signs, which are going to be Leo, Libra, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and after that, Scorpio. Well, Shakti, about the hatchet, I don't bring hatchets into my personal relationship. Do you know how it is? If I don't like someone, I just don't communicate with them in any way. Even there are situations in which I am just giving up, because not having to deal with that person will give me more pleasure than, you know, tackling with the grievances, tackling with the battle that we do have in between, and ending on top of it. So now that I think of, I don't have any hatchet to anyone. Sadly, guys, I had one with my brother, right? And it was not a good experience. No matter who ended up on top, it was not a good experience. So I just leave. I just left. It was not worth it. Okay, that was the point when we were living together. You know, we were renting a place and we were living together. We were roommates. And it was not a pleasant experience. I will give you a simple example. I like to eat outside, all right? I like burgers, I like pizza. I don't like a main course entrees, or I don't know how you call it. I don't like cooked food, all right? That is how it stands. I like a junk food. He, however, he likes cooked food, and he cooks really, really well. The thing is that he cooks all the time, and then we'll have to split the electricity bills, which is unfair because I don't eat it. I don't use the stove, and stove it's consuming a lot of electricity. I don't use the refrigerator because I don't store any groceries in it, right? And so on and so forth. And there was a constant fight about that, because at the end of the day, I end up paying more for my food and for the half of his food, because the power bill of his food, it's half of the price of the food itself. So yeah, these kind of things. So in these situations, that is a textbook Page of Swords situation. Everybody sees themselves righteous into that situation, because it's righteous from each standpoint, right? We both are using, so we both have to share. It's his standpoint, but my standpoint is that I don't want to use it, but it is my choice not to use it, all right? So he's not guilty of that I'm not using it, all right? It's just, it's a bit complicated one. And at the end, I just left. I found myself my own place and walked away. I think it was one of the best decisions, because right now, me and my brother, we're in a very, very good relationship together. And that is because we don't have anything to share, right? Because when you share things, this is the moment where things get complicated, and it is the moment where relationships, regardless of what kind, are starting to kind of like the clock is ticking there, tick tock, and at some point it blows up. All right, so we don't have any questions, I guess. That means that we are going to move on for the next 4 star signs now. And that will be Leo. Just give me a minute here. Pisces Moonbeam just rolled, guys. She does have a terrible migraine, so she may not be able to tune in for the live stream. Okay? Just so you know. Oh my god, my back. Oh. So that is the reason why you may not be seeing her right now. And when it comes to that, I truly feel for her, because I myself have a terrible migraines. And it's the moment where I just can't do anything. In fact, I feel that right now one is about to start. Not right now, but maybe tomorrow. It's just I'm feeling a tension here at the front of my head. And that is exactly how a migraine starts. At least for me. So Leo. The first one for Leo, that will be the 10 of Cups. Followed by the second one, which is the Strength. And the last one for Leo, that will be the Emperor. Okay. So we do have those 3 cards. And the message for Leo, it's pretty simple. Untie the knot a little bit. Right? Untie the knot. All right, Athena, I'm gonna take the question before I move for Leo. All right, just because I want to do it. So, is there a higher reason of being pushed to my great uncle's home? Great uncle, what that means? Great uncle, it is like a great grandfather, or just your uncle is great and that's why you call it great. Anyway, those are the cards, all right? 3 of Swords with the Hangman, with the Hermit as an elemental dignity. There are none reason, right? Literally, there is no reason. Those cards are those speaking that because you are trying to find the reason, that may kind of like, let's say, impair you, of doing a great job regarding that particular issue. For example, you may think that you do not deserve it, you're not entitled to it, and these kind of things, which are a bit untrue. For us, what those cards are showing, that home doesn't belong to anyone by right, but does belong to the one who takes it. So if you do want it, do what you can to take it, if that is your strive or an aim. So that was the free reading, and I'm going to move on now for Leo. But should any one of you guys decide to support the stream and the channel through Super Chat, you're going to have your reading at the end of the stream. That's pretty much guaranteed. And should your Super Chat be $20 or above, the reading is going to be that very same format of elemental dignities that I am doing for the star signs. Hello, Jen. Yeah, Grandpa's brother. All right. Well, this is why it's... oh my God. I think I have a wedged nerve on my back, and when I'm trying to sneeze, it's such a pain. Oh. Anyway, Leo, those three cards. So again, you have to untie the knot. What that really means is that any time you do put a not inquiry, you do demand structure. So anytime you do enforce a rule, especially when it comes to your personal life, say you forbid something to your children, say you restrict your spouse, all right, say you make your parents or whatever to do things in a certain way. So in other words, you restrict freedom and you do demand a certain type of behavior, meaning that you do not allow people to be what they are around you. You are slicing out a pieces of your own personal happiness, let alone you are making your life harder than it needs to be, the situation worse than it has to be, and in generally the environment poignant than it should be. Okay, so if you do have that opinion that you know better, that you know best, let it go or keep it for yourself, at least for the next few days. Okay, and allow anyone around you to express themselves as they see fit, and that way you are to see that is a very, very big blessing. So a long story short here, Leo, you can be blessed at this point, and if you don't feel like it, that is because you do have certain expectations and you are holding whether people or environmental, not environmental, but situational outcomes to a certain standard, which everything is for itself, right? I mean, you can't hold two different people to the same standard, right? They are covering a standard which is just not the same. So long story short here is that you should see the situation or the person or the relationship for what it truly is and try to love it. Well, if you can't, then your choice is simple, is it not? Good evening, Ada. Welcome to the stream. All right, next we do have Virgo. First one for Virgo, that will be the Five of Cups, followed by the Ten of Wands. And the third one for Virgo, that will be the Eight of Cups. Very similar message to the Leo message. Oh, oh my God. A very similar message to the Leo message. However, for you guys, it's more about moving forward, right? Moving on, but not moving away from, right? That doesn't have to be a moving away from, like moving away from your current relationship or from your current undertaking, enterprise, or job, for example. Here is about moving on from a unpleasant circumstances, which are just a partial circumstances. For example, let's say that your boss comes about and tells you that project, just leave it alone, don't bother with it, it's not happening. You put a work into it, a really hard work into it, and you enjoy the thing, but you just have to let go now. You just have to move on to something else, some different task, some different client, some different project, and you should do so. Now, hello Irena, oh, welcome to the stream. So sticking with the whole thing is going to manifest that elemental dignity, right? This elemental dignity. Now, first and foremost, that is gonna put you in a very restricting atmosphere, meaning that you wouldn't have much room for a creative expression, to express your love, for example, to express your skill or your knowledge. And second is gonna set you into the merry-go-round. There will be no escape from it. Rather, like, there will be no moving forward. It will just, you're gonna make a step forward as a progress, and then you have to bounce back. So the best course of action according to these cards, just move on from it, guys. And that is this elemental dignity here, the Five of Cups with the Eight of Cups. And what they say, and that is really what you need to know, it is that your future holds a much brighter and better, let's call it, perspective. That is going to make you feel much better than you ever felt with the circumstances that you are going to have to move from right now. So better project, better relationship enterprise, right? A better experience in general, better emotional experience in general. So you Virgo, basically, it's also a lesson. Is just at some point you just have to waver, right? At some point in life, you just have to let go and learn to, how do you call it, to man it up and just take it as a champ. Take the loss as a champ and move forward with your life. All right, so that was Virgo. Now moving on, next we do have Libra. Four of Cups, it is the first one for Libra. Followed by the Seven of Cups. And the last one is the Ten of Swords. So we do have that elemental dignity. All right, our message is very simple, material, and I'm gonna put it into words, a tangible one. according to these cards, Libra, there is a aspect around you that you do not dare believe into. For example, there is a person that you don't believe you are ever gonna end up together. There is a job that you may believe right now that you will never gonna be hired into, or a place that you will never gonna live into, etc., etc. So there is something you want that you cannot believe it's gonna happen. Well, what you need to know it is that next few days you will see that it can happen. That is the elements of dignity in between the Four of Cups and the Seven of Cups, showing that your dreams, let's put it that way, your dreams, are they fantasies or seeds growing is yet to remain to be of its knowing. However, as the Four of Cups, it is the prime card. Okay, you have to understand one thing, that sitting on your place, not doing anything, is going to produce exactly that. Absolutely nothing. So you will have to, regardless of how difficult it's gonna look or how inappropriate, because at this point we're talking about inappropriate, so how inappropriate it may look, you'll have to start moving into that direction. The person you like, ask them out, or for a cup of coffee or something, you know. The job you want, start learning about it, if it does require a certain amount of skills or a knowledge and so on and so forth. And that will relate to your choice that there will be no going back from, as we read at the collective reading. Okay, so Libra, I don't know if I have to title your reading, that is, believe that it can happen and try to subjugate your emotions, because actually your emotions is what deprives you here. Your emotions is what's stopping you moving forward, because you may feel that you can't do it, you may feel that it does not belong to you, you may feel that you're not worthy of it, and so on and so forth, and oh, this is wrong. So you have to see the path forward through your mind rather than through your heart. Okay, that is what you gotta do. Now, can you do it? Well, that depends on you guys. And next we do have Scorpio. First one for Scorpio, Page of Pentacles. Second one, Five of Pentacles. And the third one, that will be the King of Pentacles. All right, let me have an inhale here before I move forward. First of all, there is so much into it. So I'm gonna stick to the more wider interpretation here, because there are so many specific situations that can happen under those cards. For example, one of these situations could be that through a mutual help, you know, you do have, say, a friend, and through a mutual help you do find that you and your friend are in a very similar situation. You do find that there is so much in common in between you two, and little by little you are starting to fall in love with one another. That is very possible to happen here. It doesn't have to be with your friend as well. It's just you may be going through a very, very hard time with a certain situation, and that leads you to a person that is going through a hard time in the same situation, and it's just that thing. It serves like that situation serves like a conduit for you both to see that, you know, you are meant for one another. That is just a way that it can manifest. Another way how this can manifest here is a person who is investing in you guys, is investing in your business, or is investing into your idea, or simply is approaching you and is telling you, you know what, I know how, you know, your skill can work out, your knowledge can work out, and I can make it happen. And they are not gonna even ask for anything. Don't get it wrong, they do have a lot to get from, right? But it's not gonna be directly from you. So pretty much consider it that way, all right? You do have the groceries. That person has the stove and the skill to cook those groceries, and that way you both are gonna have dinner and you both have contributed enough for it, right? And that person is not gonna eat from your plate. That is also a way how it's gonna play out. Another way how it's gonna play out here, it is that you will realize that actually you are focusing on the wrong thing. You are pouring resources in the wrong direction, and the next few days are going to be pivotal, where you will change and reshape your strategy and in generally your style of how you are doing things, which is going to bring you monetary gains, is going to bring you a more telegraphed, so to speak, narrative of doing things business wise, that is. And just there is so much into those three cards. But in a global scheme of things here, there will be an enterprise of worth, right, which is going to manifest. It's just that's an enterprise of wealth. Now, how you do define wealth, it depends on you. Now, for some, wealth is health, right? For others, wealth at this point is love. For third is gonna be family. For fourth is gonna be money. Whatever. It is just right now what you do define as wealth. That is where the whole thing takes place. And the problems which are surrounding that wealth, because wealth is something we want to acquire, right? We want to be wealthy of, and obviously right now there is a problems to acquire that thing. Well, we are going to change the way we address those problems, and that is going to start resolving those problems, right? That is what do we need to know, is that it takes a different approach and different investment in order to not just only resolve but also bypass the setbacks we are facing in our lives. That is for Scorpio. Danny, thank you so much for your $4.99 support. Thank you, Danny. At the end of the stream, you're gonna have your reading of what is that you need to know right now. If you can't watch it, or if you can't stay up until the end of the stream, you can always watch it on a record. So with that said, guys, the second free reading now is going to take place. I do announce a break right now. And if you do want to have a free reading, all you got to do is just input a question into the comments down below. And after about 5 minutes, I'm going to pick one of your questions and I'm going to perform a professional reading on that question. Professional reading means I'm gonna make a whole spread on it rather than you know, pulling a one card draw, and I'll be straight on the point with your question. That is what I can say about that free reading. You're welcome, Athena. Oh my god. It feels like an injury. Oh, I don't know how I slept, but it feels like a freaking injury. I can't lift my yeah, I can't lift my hand. Oh. It's because every time before the live streams, I take a nap so I can be fresh here in front of you guys. And when I woke up, it had no issues, and it started like literally it started like a 40 minutes ago throughout the duration of the live stream. Oh, oh my god, what is going on? Not at all, Shakti. Not at all. Because that is what separates. If you are asking for tarot cards, not at all. Because for me, that is what separates the professional from the sweet talker. Okay, because people comes for you or comes to you for the truth, or for the truth of tarot, for example, and you have to say it no matter how ugly it is. Thank you. So no, I don't have. Do I feel bad for people? Yes, of course, but I don't have problem telling them a bad news, because that is basically what my professional conduct requires from me. Chandra, thank you so much for your $4.99 US. Thank you, Chandra. At the end of the stream, you're gonna have your free reading. Oh. The only bad news that I have difficulty deliver, and it's not with Tarot, it's with Lenormand. When it comes up that the person who is asking for a reading is gonna fall heavily sick, right, or heavily ill, or there is gonna be death. That is, and that is because I don't believe that we are supposed to say that. I don't believe that we're supposed to say that as a. I don't like that word, fortune tellers. More like a interpreters. We are not supposed to say that, because that kind of changes the psychology of the individual, and we shouldn't do it. Okay, we just shouldn't. That is my opinion. But if the person asks for a Lenormand reading and it shows up, I am saying it no matter what. Because while that's not my personal belief, it is within the creed of the tool I use. And yeah. All right, there are no questions for a free reading. But if any of you do decide to support the stream and the channel through Super Chat, you guys can have a reading at the end of the stream. That's pretty much guaranteed. So no, and Shakti, there are I have many occasions where clients were, I can't really say unhappy with the reading. I have a very few for throughout my career, which is now for my own channel, it's I believe 7 years, and before that I worked for another channel for about 5 years. Okay, and throughout my career, I can count my negative feedback on, let's be generous here and say, the fingers on my 2 hands. Okay, if you check my old page, you're gonna see 5-star score there. So, but, and even I had that client, which she had a 10 minutes reading, I believe, and she asked me something, I forget what it was. And at the end of the session, she wasn't happy. You can say that from her voice. And I said to myself, well, this woman isn't coming back at all. Isn't coming back at all to have another reading with me. But what do you know? A couple of weeks later, the same woman came about, and she purchased even a more expensive reading with me. And at the end of this reading, I asked her, well, last time, you know, when we spoke, or the first time when we spoke, I left with the impression that, you know, you was not happy with the reading. And she said, I was happy with the reading. I was just not happy with the way you conveyed the information. You should be more gentle or rather like more gentle and compassionate, say, when you are delivering a bad news, which to me doesn't make much sense, because if there is a bad news to be delivered, it needs to emphasize a sense of emergency, right? Because there is no point, for example, telling you that you're gonna lose your job, but things are gonna be okay. They're not gonna be freaking okay. You are gonna lose your source of income, right? So how you do deliver that news in a way of making a person feel good? There is no way doing it. It's just, it's a news that you're going to lose your job. That's that. That is just for example. All right, I'm going to take it, Melissa, for a free reading. So what do you want to know, Melissa? Imagine, God forbid, you go to for tests, and then they find something bad. Let's say they find, God forbid, cancer or diabetes or whatever. How are they to deliver you the news in a way that, you know, you're gonna feel happy about it? There is no way doing it. I mean, of course, you must feel hopeful about it, right? But happy about it? I don't know. It's just, there is no way. And if they sugarcoat it, all right, that is going to give you a false sense of security, which is going to make you go for less radical treatment, which is not going to do anything at all. So it's important to deliver the bad news as it is, right as it is. So the other side can grasp the full sense of emergency that requires it. This is not how tarot works, Melissa. It needs to relate to a specific question, tarot, to work. So moving forward, we do have not Scorpio, Sagittarius. That is my personal opinion on you know, the how a reading should be conducted. And long and behold, I have many friends and people who are criticizing me for it. Okay, they're saying you are a tree. That isn't an expression in our country. When here someone tells you that you are a tree, that means that you are basically underselling yourself, or you're not doing things right. Okay, it's just they're saying you can make so much money from it, and because you are a tree, you are basically shooting yourself into the foot. And I can understand that. You know, I can start talking sweet and kind of like drag the thing out, because if you go for a 10 minutes of reading, all right, for example, we can cover up 3, even 4 questions, depending on what kind of a questions you do have. However, if I start dragging it out and telling you things you totally don't need to know, which are in the cards, and I'm doing it in such an extensive way, I can waste your time, right? I can answer 2 questions for about an hour and a half with the same level of, say, urgency that, you know, you're going to have it for about 2 minutes. Hello, Sean. Welcome to the stream. Because when you pay for a reading, right, you pay for my time and my skill. And I want to be as efficient as possible. So if you can go over 3 questions, 3 questions it is for 10 minutes. That is just for example. Otherwise, it's just I feel like I'm robbing you guys, right? That is how I feel if I start dragging it out and telling you things you literally didn't ask for. Let me give you an example, right? Say you come for a reading, for a consultation, and you ask me, you know, I'm dating somebody and I want to know how things are looking. I'm going to tell you how things are looking, but I'm not going to tell you how that person is feeling about you unless you do not ask. I'm not going to tell you what their intentions are. I'm not going to tell you the surroundings. I'm just going to tell you how the relationship in between you two is looking. And that is because you didn't ask for anything else, because I believe that if you do not ask, you are not concerned with it, therefore you do not need to know it. That is my approach. That's why tarot needs to be related to a question, at least for me, in order to be as accurate as possible. All right, Sagittarius, first card, we do have the Two of Swords, followed by the Seven of Wands. And the third one, that is going to be the Six of Pentacles. So for Sagittarius, what is important to know, and what do you need to know, guys, it is that there is going to be a very sudden change of course here, or rather like change of a course. Not of events, but of a motion. Now, in the next few days, it will be very likely for you to decide that one thing you are doing, or one thing that you are kind of like maintaining, let's put it that way, it doesn't need you or does not deserve your attention anymore, and you will redirect into another. Okay, that is one thing that you need to know. And don't bash your head against the wall of figuring out what it is right now, because the whole situation with time will pretty much become pretty obvious in front of you. And why this is happening? Well, because what you are going to change your attention from kind of start getting out of control. It's going to start getting out of control, and it's going to become a more hassle than it needs to be. Okay, and that way it just is going to disturb your peace, and that is something at that point which you will not gonna wanna have at your plate. I agree with that, Danny, and that is a part of my job. That's why I'm saying, you know, what is that you need to know? I'm not asking you for a question. I'm telling you, when we start the reading, that is what I ask. What is that you want to know about? And if you don't have a question, tell me the situation, right? Tell me of the situation you're going through and that you want to know about, and I am going to word the questions for you, because I know how tarot works, and I know what kind of questions tarot answers, because tarot doesn't answer all kinds of questions. Okay, and very often, even if you do have your own question, I am rephrasing it for the cards. So that is true what you are asking here, or what you are emphasizing on. So back to Sagittarius, that is one thing that you are going to understand, and that is what you need to know. The other thing, guys, it is a very subtle and on-point actions that you are going to exert in the next few days. It is just you are going, depending on what those actions are related to, and that comes from this elemental dignity here. the Two of Swords and the Seven of Wands. That is basically when every one of you watched the Star Wars saga, the very first one, right? And I remember the first movie was the ending was when basically they had to shoot into the heart of the star, of the Death Star or whatever they was calling, and the heart could be accessed through a shaft that only kind of like a one ship could have go through, and had to travel through the whole star and something like that. So it did require a large amounts of luck, skill, and also to kind of like catch the right moment. And that is what we have for you here, Sagittarius, that there is going to be a moment in the next few days that is going to be your moment, whether into your career or whether into your relationship, to not just only end up on top of whatever situation you are invested, but also to crack it out, you know, to crack it right open. For example, if you are a lawyer, you're going to have your moment to crack the case open and annihilate the prosecution, right? Or if you are an engineer, to crack and resolve, to crack the problem open and resolve the issue, and so on and so forth. And that's why what you need to know is that you need to have that readiness to jump into action. Imagine that you are the hunter. Look at that guy there, which is over here, right? Look at that guy. What does he does? He hunts, right? So be the hunter and stalk your prey, whatever your prey is, all right? It could be a project, it could be a problem solving, whatever your prey is, because you are going to have your moment to take your shot, and you are not going to miss your shot into that very moment. You're welcome, Mattia. I mean, I know no other way, right? I just don't know any other way of doing it. And the migraine is starting. Uh, I will need to pop a pill. Hold on a second, guys. Let's wait a few minutes so the pill can take place. Next one is going to be Capricorn, though. Let me draw the cards. right. Capricorn, first one for you, that will be the Death card, followed by Page of Wands, and the last one we have is going to be the Six of Wands. That is such an awkward one, and it's so difficult. It's difficult to interpret. But okay, thank you for the 28 Canadian. Thank you, Rocky. Let me put you into the list, and at the end of the stream, you're gonna have your personalized reading for what do you need to know as of this moment. So it's a difficult read because these two cards, they do have, well, I'm not going to explain you that. So Capricorn, long story short, and I don't know if you're going to like that, guys. I bet you won't. But a long story short here is that I will say it that way. What do you need to know? It is that the lack of rewards right now, because probably those cards are relating to situations where you may feel that you are entitled to, but they do not provide right now. For example, you may feel that you are entitled for a better treatment right now at your work, or you may feel that you are entitled for more respect, or you may feel that you are entitled for more money. These things are not happening as of now. Right, in a relationship, you may feel that you are entitled for more attention, for more love, and etc., etc. So those cards showing here that your feeling of entitlement, it's incorrect. It's what they're showing. And you may be thinking right now to change your behavior, right? To try out something new. God forbid, to go for something new, like go for a new job, just to show your boss that, you know, you can do without them, or say walk away from your spouse just to show them that you can do without them, to make them feel jealous, so to speak. That's gonna be such a big mistake, because this is when the Death card is gonna manifest as what most people are interpreting it for, the end, with the big letters. Okay, the end. That will be. So here for you, the Death card would manifest in one of the two ways, whether the point of no return and the end of all things related to that situation, or the verge of how can I put it into words? Stepping into the next phase of it. One is certain, it is that let's put it that way, your misfortunate standing right now, the end of it, it's nigh. But what is going to come from that end, whether the end or the rebirth, that depends on your approach and on your behavior, Capricorn. Okay, so I don't want to tell you what to do, but what I will advise you is don't try to replace it, because you won't be able to. I mean, you will lose it if you do try to replace it. All right, moving forward, we do have Aquarius. The Wheel of Fortune. I was about to say the Wheel of Time. I don't know why. I guess I'm 7 months later. I'm actually a year later. I'm still salty about the show. Wheel of Fortune is the first one, followed by the 10 of Pentacles. And the final one, that's going to be Justice. Oh my God. So actually, that's a good reading for for Aquarius here. So what those cards here are showing, hold on a second, guys, I gotta do something. Yeah, okay. So for Aquarius, I don't know if you do feel or rather like see your life around right now that it is a bit of a mess, okay? Like you find it hard time to juggle in between your personal life and your career, or like you do find that it is chaotic, kind of like mitigating in between your family and your friends or in your social circle in general. Basically, this reading relates to those two fields of your life which they do not mix, like your business and your love life, right? Like your family and your friends and so on and so forth, that in a opposition and that they are in a conflict right now, and this is solving out the conflict, all right? Like making it in such a way that while they are in an opposition, they don't have to interfere with one another. So basically, what you need to know it is, Aquarius, that you are about to find the right recipe of tackling with your job and your family in a way that you are going to be efficient in both, all right? But they are not going to interfere with one another. Same thing about your friends. Same thing about you know, about literally everything that is going on around you right now. Now in a more tangible way, those cards are showing that in the next few days you will have your chance. I don't know what they refer to, okay? That is how the Wheel of Fortune does stands, and your chance is gonna provide you with an opportunity as big as that opportunity can be. And how far you're gonna get into that opportunity, it depends on your own personal efforts. So you put a colossal efforts, colossal rewards. You put no efforts, no rewards, right? So you have to kind of like adopt the standpoint or the mindset, so to speak, that big money, for example, they do come with the hard work, right? Or I don't know, a harmonious relationship comes with loyalty and respect and trust and all these kind of things. So it's basically you will get what you deserve. That opportunity is going to be as big as it can, all right? But at the end, the rewards from it is going to be as big as you deserve them to be, according to the universe, right? So the universe is going to be your judge. You may think that you deserve more, but that is out of the question right now. And this opportunity, however, is going to require from you to give away some of your freedom. So it will be a demanding one, right? You will have to make a place in your day-to-day routine or into your to-go list or in generally into your responsibilities, even if you have to wedge it in, right, in order to carry on with it. So it's not going to be something that you can do meanwhile. It will require its own dedicated time and efforts. Well, Artemis, yeah, that's it's quite of a conundrum, isn't it? It's quite of a conundrum. Well, don't worry, Artemis. I mean, I'm facing that conundrum every single day. In my own way, that is. All right, last but not least, we do have Pisces. Five of Swords for Pisces. News Devon, long time no see. Thank you so much for your 449 British pounds. Thank you, News. Oh my god, my back. Oh. Good morning. It goes worse and worse with every single freaking minute. The second card, that is going to be the Page of Swords. And the third one, we do have Strength. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know what's wrong with my back. I think I wedged a nerve. All right, I have a wedged nerve there because it's very difficult to move that hand. And oh, yeah, it's a wedged nerve. It started an hour ago. When I started the live stream, I was perfectly fine, and at some point, it just it kind of like it cut me off. That is an expression we do have here. It cut me off, and now it's so difficult to move that. Oh, yeah, that's awful. I know. Heating pad? No, I don't have one. I don't have one, but probably I'm gonna go and for a massage tomorrow. Oh, that should relieve it a little bit. We don't have a chiropractors here, but massage should do, I think. Although the chiropractor, it's the better choice going forward. So those three for Pisces. Now, let's first talk about the more impactful way how those cards can manifest for you, Pisces. So you may end up in a conflict in the next few days, or should you end up in a conflict, what do you need to know, guys? It is that the other side of that conflict is going to use literally anything to get the upper hand, and so do you. So do you should, rather, or so should you too as well. I don't know how to express in English, so I do apologize about that. But literally, this conflict, and it's going to be a verbal conflict, all right? No, not physical one. So that verbal conflict, you should consider it like a declaration for a war. And in war, there are no rules. Now, the poignant part of all that, it is that maybe this declaration for a war most likely is going to come from a friend of yours or a person who you do consider as loyal. And you will consider these conflict as a trust betrayal, which is going to be literally that, right? It's going to be betraying of your trust. So that is the more poignant way how those cards could manifest. Good part of all that, it is that you will be very synchronized with the situation. What I mean is that your behavior, right, is going to be on point, is going to be spot on in regards to what the situation demands. So literally that person is not going to be able to read you in any way, all right? And the only thing that they can be able to hang on is what you say. So be careful what exactly you're saying. Now, moving forward, the message is that you may come up to a really unique idea in the next few days. Or rather, like, what you should know is that if an idea pop up in your mind in the next few days, is going to be very unique. Although, how do you call it? In advance of its time, so to speak. What I mean is the idea is going to be great, but it cannot happen right now. It is just the time. It's not exactly, it's not right, but it's not developed enough. The time is not developed enough so the idea to happen. For example, you may have an idea for some kind of a product, but the market or the consumers are not grown enough so that product can be consumed, all right? And or for a business, but it is just the market doesn't need that business right now, but is about to. So what is important and what you need to know, it is that all those ideas you need to pretty much input in a diary or a sheet of paper or whatever, and keep them there, because the time is gonna come where those ideas are gonna make you influence. They are going to give you power. That is what those cards are saying. Now, whether that power is through money or through influence, that will be very situational, but literally those ideas, when the time comes for them to be realized, they are going to give you power. And the other thing that you need to know is that in the next few days, you are going to start feeling very enthusiastic about one thing or another, and your enthusiasm is going to be fed by people who are telling you not to do it. So that is like, imagine those situations with, if you do have a children. I remember my brother was like that. I'm 3.5 years older than him, and I do remember him when he was a toddler. My mother was always saying, don't do that, and he does it just to see what's gonna happen. All right, he just does the opposite of what my mother was telling him. It was hilarious. But literally, you are gonna have that. Your enthusiasm is gonna be fed by that standpoint of the people around you. They are gonna telling you you shouldn't do it, and you will know that you can. You know that this will provide for you, and you are gonna start doing it without feeling the necessity that you do need the approval of, say, your parents, your spouse, your friends, your boss, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, you are going to start doing something for yourself because this is how you want to be, not because someone else tells you that that is how you should be. And that is for Pisces. So that concludes the whole 12. And now the last 3 reading can take place. If you do have any questions, now is the time for you to input one of your questions into the comments down below. And in about 5 minutes, I'm going to pick one of your questions and I'm going to perform a professional reading on it. Rocky, I did acknowledge your question and I am going to include it now into the poll. And should I not pick it, all right, I'm going to include it in your super chat. So you will have the answer to your question no matter what. But if there are no other questions in the poll, I'm just going to pick yours. And then in the super chat, I'm going to do you a personalized reading for what you need to know as of this moment. Ah. Michelle, how long do you know that person? Do you have any other dates? I just can't find a good spot for me, a good place for me. Oh my god, my back. At least the migraine is off from the pill I popped. Out there, are you looking for work, or you have one and you want to know, are things gonna be okay? Well, Michelle, that's the thing with such kind of a questions, all right? It is because, like I said, tarot needs to relate to it relates your present with your past, and it gives its meaning to the future. And obviously you do have a past with that person, but you don't have a present yet. So if I draw for you, it's just, the cards are going to not just only mixed, but literally they're going to show, say, how there is a 55% that date to go, but it can go in any other way, right? So with that said, I will suggest you that go on that date, and next time we do have a live stream, ask based on the date you had. Like, for example, what impression I made, how that person feels about me, and so on after the date. That date needs to take place so tarot can step on it, right? That is very important. I don't know what I talked about last week for Pisces or for whichever star sign, Rocky. I seldom remember my readings. All right, you're looking, okay? All right. I'm gonna pick Althea Davis because her question has a bit of a sense of emergency to it. That will be a look for a job. That is how I take it, right? And that isn't an example here, Danny, with wording of a question. Althea asks, how is my career and finances looking? But actually the core of the matter is she gonna find a job or not? Right? That is the core of the matter. So literally I'm rephrasing it, job search. What can you show me about Althea's job search? Right? About the finances, that second question. So we're doing only one question per person at these 3 readings. But if the card shows something about finances, I'm going to tell you that. All right, Althea, those are your cards. So, what they say is that in about a couple of weeks, literally the time frame is from the 2nd of February moving forward, right? From the 2nd week of February moving forward. Job openings are going to start appearing all around you, right? Now, the issue, that 3 of Wands being into the 2nd position, that states that none of those job offerings is going to fully fit what the card says is your patterns. Now, the job may look like it's underwhelming, more often underwhelming than overwhelming one, all right? And it's just you are going to have the impression and the opinion that you are more qualified than what the job offers. Long and behold, that is not the time where you should fit the job for you. You are the one who needs to fit thyself for the job, right? So here, according to these cards, finding a job is not a problem, right? Agreeing for the job, that will be your problem. And for what the cards are advising you here is that are 2 criteria, right? Comfort and longevity. So you need to go for the one who presents you with the most comfort and the most longevity. From there, money and how far you can grow in it is just a matter of time and a matter of, let's put it that way, negotiations and conscious changes which you can exert into them. Now, as for the money, for what those cards are showing without drawing another one, you will sustain, you will be able to manage yourself with the money, right? That is what those cards are showing. All right, so that was the second. That was the second free reading. Couple of minutes and I'm going to move for the super chat. I hope that helps you out there. Maybe not the ideal answer, but it is what it is. So, long story short, I would say the opportunities, they are not going to reciprocate with your expectations, but you gotta start from somewhere. But without world being at the first position, you are about to find job. You are about to find work. Give me a couple of minutes, guys. All right, Danny. What do you need to know right now? We do have the Knight of Cups, Danny. So, couple of things. First one, Knight of Cups does not rely on chances and luck, meaning that Knight of Cups does believe that hard work pays off. So that relates to anything. So this is what you need to know. It is that your approach, your work is going to pay off. In business, is self-explanatory, right? You put a mighty effort, you get a good results. In relationship, that card literally stands, and what you need to know, it is that if you do like someone, you have to talk to the woman or the guy depending on your preferences, right? You gotta ask them out, you gotta call them, you gotta seek for them, you gotta talk with them, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, things are not gonna work out. Long story short, you do have something you want. You do have a dream of your heart here. Follow it. And as follow it means do things toward it, do things about it, and you will reach it. That is what you need to know. Chandra, we do have the Three of Swords for you, Chandra. So the Three of Swords could play out in a couple of ways most of the time. It could play out in many ways, but most of the time. Now, Chandra, one of the ways how Three of Swords could play out is a situation which is going to be very reminiscent to an old one, which end up in calamity, for a lack of a better word. And you are going to be scared, right? You are going to be scared that history is going to repeat itself and calamity is nigh. That's not the case, okay? Basically, your concern, it will be a feel of dread. It's just in your mind. Three of Swords, what do you need to know, Chandra, is that your mind is playing tricks on you, right? And you should not allow those negative thoughts you have to twist and tangle it, to make you believe that you do not deserve success, you do not deserve happiness, that you must be better than that. Maybe that's not the right expression. What do I mean by that? It is, say, the card may play out that someone may tell you and try to convince you that do not deserve something. You do not deserve the client, you do not deserve the project, you do not deserve the person, right? Or you do not deserve the home, or whatever the case. So you should not allow yourself to believe that. And the other way how it can play out, it is that you may face a tangible wall, like making a step forward in a progress and then something happens and bounces you back at the beginning. And that way, you know, you're forming in your mind that you are a failure. But that is, again, your mind. Do not allow that to happen, okay? In these cases, you just have to leave it alone for the time being until the environment becomes more, not willing, what is the word? Let's put it that way, more fruitful for what you're trying to do to thrive. And lastly, mental cruelty. You may be insulted, you may be hurt mentally, I mean. Usually that happens through finding out about things. That is why people very often interpret Three of Swords as a cheating, right? Because one of the two people finds out the painful truth that their partner is sleeping with someone else. Now that is the truth, all right? It is the truth that someone insulted you. It is the truth that that person you had a high opinion of is actually a scumbag. And you have to accept it. If it appears or if it manifests in such a way, you have to accept it, that it is what it is. That person is a scumbag, or you know, your boyfriend cheated on you. You accept it and move past it. How? Well, that is very personal. Some people break things. Other people just, you know, live through it and forgive. Depending on what's your kind of like your preferences are here and how you deal with these things, but you cannot allow that to fester in your mind. That's the whole point here, Chandra. But above everything else, if someone tells you that you worked for nothing, you prove them wrong. You are much better than what people are telling you are. According to that card, that is what you need to know. News Devon, we do have the Fool for you. So the Fool, it's pretty simple. News Devon, what do you need to know? It is that your target, it's possible. That is basically the grand message of the Fool card. And what do you need to know? It is that right now, how you're gonna get your target happen, it's irrelevant. That should not be your concern. And you need to know that anything can literally, yeah, anything can happen. That's why how you're gonna get there should not be your concern. My point is that you should go on a fly. That is an expression here. What I mean is that go with the flow. Tackle things as things happen instead of going forward with a strict plan, and be spontaneous. Also, what you need to know, it is that you are about to start making friends. That's another thing here that it is related with the Fool. And another thing of what you need to know, News Devon, it is that should you be invested in a situation, don't bring the past with yourself. That's very important. I'm sorry, Chandra, about the card that I draw. Actually, I have no power of what I draw, but right now you are about to go through can I put it in the words, a period of a few days that you will see things for what things truly are, okay? And you just have to accept it rather than mourn and grieve for it. That is what is important. You mourn and grieve, you basically entangle your mind with the negative thoughts, and that will impair your strive for happiness and success. All right, next, Mattia. Let's see, what is that you need to know? We have the Strength card for you, Mattia, followed by the Nine of Wands. And the final one is going to be the King of Wands. So that most likely relates to your business. Give me a minute. So that most likely relates to your business. I'm going to tell a few things about romantic life if you are leading one. But business wise, what you need to know it is that your plans, or aka your ambition that you do have right now, what your business is going to become, all right, is about to transform into very powerful action. So I will not gonna be surprised in the next few days with your business partners to come up with a very solid, and it's not even only solid, it's enthusiastic, all right, enthusiastic target and a plan how to get there, which is gonna be beyond your current bar of performance. So that will be a tremendous improvement, all right, a tremendous improvement, something I don't know how to put it into words, okay. It will be a target that will be not just only worth it, but you will consider as a leap into development, so to speak. And it's not just only possible, Mattia, but the way how the things are set right now with the people you work, the means and the resources you have at your hand, you, my friend, you are doomed to succeed, all right? You are literally doomed to succeed. The only way how things can literally screw up for you is if you abandon it. That's the only way how things can screw for you. And you have, at least for the time being, you're gonna have the say, right? So basically you get to shape the whole drive and the whole agenda and, you know, the whole process the way that suits you best. But I would suggest you to be mindful of what your business partners are accustomed to as well, because of that King of Wands. King of Wands works best when people are motivated, all right? When people do not hate what they do not hate what they work. Because imagine it that way, Mattia, you may have the star team of, say, engineers, but if you oppress them at work and you do not allow them to do what they do best, they are going to do a shitty job. So be mindful of the environment your business partners and your clients as well are used working into, and try to recreate it. That way you're going to have the best results, but results are going to be there. And the final thing, that's what you need to know, and that is more like a guidance than anything else, you do need some fun. That is very strong within those cards. So I don't know how long was that you went out on a bar or on a, well, I don't know if you like going into discos, but some kind of a thing, or a social gathering, something like this. Hell, on a cinema or on a theater, opera, a ballet, and you should allow yourself do so. Okay, you should go at something like this. Gather up friends and just go out and have fun. I promise you that that will reflect on you in such a positive way, you wouldn't believe it. Okay, so that is what you need to know. Rocky, you are next. So you had a question. I have to reshuffle for your question. So Rocky, I will form the question. What will happen if you go forward with your idea instead of looking for other firms? Okay, what will happen if you open up your own firm? And you may you will have the information to make your own informative decision. Should you go for it, or should you look for other jobs? All right. So within those cards contains the answer, what you should do, but I'm not going to tell you that because I don't want to make a choice for you. Those are your cards. So we do have the Six of Swords, the Five of Swords, the High Priestess, and the Knights of Pentacles. Hell, I'm gonna tell you, those cards are strongly suggest to go forward with your idea. Why is that? First, we do have the Six of Swords, which is the prime of your reading, right? That is basically the strongest card there. And the Six of Swords, it's literally represents the threshold that you have to cross if you want to reach your dream, right? And that threshold is your question, it's your idea, right? And you have to cross it. If you do want your dream, business dream, right? Or your, in other words, you have a dream of how successful you want to be, right? And that is the way you get there. And the High Priestess being into the third position, that idea is not just only an idea, right? That card says that your inner voice is giving you that idea, meaning that it comes from the bottom of your soul. And if your inner voice is speaking to you, that's inner voice is different from intuition. Don't mix those two things around, right? But when your inner voice is speaking at you, it's basically, you can consider that you are fully prepared to meet what comes after you make that move, whatever the inner voice is telling you. Not to mention that when the inner voice is speaking, it tells you always to go in a direction that your soul and basically your being is gonna feel best, and that you are doing the right thing. And on a tangible level, Rocky, the High Priestess tells that this idea, once established, is gonna carry you on for the rest of your life, right? Once established. Now, that's the good part. Let's talk about the backdraws here. Five of Swords into the second position. I don't know what that idea is for. Does it relate to other people? But if it does, people will try to screw you over. So in other words, they will betray you. People will betray you. Some of them. So it's very important to select carefully, right? Very carefully whom you are working with, at least at that particular stage. The other thing about the Five of Swords, Rocky, it is that you are a bit going ahead of yourself. Maybe even not a bit, right? What that means is that certain aspects of your idea, they have more efficient way of being established. In other words, you are wasting more resources, or you are considering wasting more resources than you should. And the other thing, it is that you may end up in a, for the lack of a better word, I'm gonna say dependency. You may end up in dependency, in a sense of that someone, you may sign up a contract, let's say, that it is very unbeneficial for you, but it looks very good. Okay, and a contract that you won't be able to walk away without reparations, right? Without reparations afterwards. So be very careful what you are signing up. Even I would suggest you once you have a, say, proposed a contract to sign, I don't know if you know a lawyer, go for a lawyer consultation, show them the contract and ask them, is that a good thing to sign? And you know, what are the bad things in regards to that contract? What happens, you know, the worst case scenario with that contract? That is something you gotta do. But here, best is gonna work if you start the business. I don't want to say on your own, but you should aim to structure your business relationships in such a way that you should be as much independent as you can. So the verdict of the cards, it is that if you do start your idea right now, by the end of April, there should be a clear line of action. What I mean is that most of the parts should be set up, and from there on, it is a process that will earn you not just only money, but also growth and stability as well. And as simple the process is, the more simple the process is, the more money, the more stability. That is what those cards are saying. But such worded question, you definitely should go for it, Danny. Rocky. You definitely should go for that idea. So that is that's gonna do it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching and attending as well. Thank you so much for your generosity and your attention, and we're gonna see each other next time. Until then, bye.